Hello and welcome! Today I'm going to show you 4 different ways to fold socks. So socks are some of my favorite things to tie-dye because you can't really ruin them. They all turn out looking great and they're very low impact. You know, if you ruin them, who cares? Wear some ugly socks. So I've got the accordion fold, the tiger stripe, geode, and then just a regular scrunch. And I'll get through each of those and how you do them. Enjoy! So I'm starting off with one of my very favorites. This is what we call the tiger stripe fold because the end result kind of looks like a tiger stripe. So you're just going to want to take, like, you can take a PVC pipe. You could do that with this as well. But I like to use pool noodles because I don't need to use any rubber bands or anything. So I just scrunch on that sock onto the pool noodle, and you don't need to secure it with rubber band. Like I said, you can just let the friction of the pool noodle hold it in place. And then I take the magic tracks and I put it around it just so the ice will hold on to it because they are spherical. So the ice tends to roll off if you don't have some sort of way to hold it in. I use the colors tangerine and chartreuse on these. It's a cool color combo I like to play around with sometimes because tangerine is like a yellow orange, and then chartreuse is like a limeish green yellow, so they look really cool together. Another thing you can do is you can get like grocery store bags, or what are they called, like produce bags, and put ice in those if you don't have a barrier. That's one way to hold ice on your project without using magic tracks or a barrier. Alright, so here is my rinse out process. One thing I love about socks is they rinse out so fast. So there is that rinse out process. It's just cool water, hot water, Dawn dish soap. These socks I'm using in this video are all bamboo. I got them from Dharma. They're super high quality, but they only come in like men's sizes. So that's kind of a bummer. But here's that final result. Pretty cool. You'll see them all next to each other at the end too, I should say. All right, this next one is the easiest one by far. This is just a scrunch. So you're just gonna simply take the sock, scrunch it up, tie it up with a rubber band, and that is how I tie up my scrunches. I would also say you don't have to use a rubber band. If you have something to secure it, you can just shove it in there, but I wanted to use a rubber band for these. I use the color shiitake mushroom, which is like a blue, purple, brown split. So this is a super popular color in the tie-dye communities because the splits are really cool. In fact, this pair of socks sold within like 2 days of me listing it on my Etsy store. So popular color indeed. I have in my storefront listed some other socks you can use if they don't have these bamboo ones available, or if you want women's size. All right, this one is called the accordion fold because you just fold it up like an accordion, and then you're going to secure it with a rubber band, as you can see here. This one's super simple but gives a really cool result. People really like the result of this one. It's like some stripes. I use the colors Magenta Galactica, and this is like a really bright magenta color. This is a cool one. And then the other color I used was more like, Deep Space was like a navy. It's like a navy-ish purplish color. They also look really cool together. So here I'm just sprinkling on that dye, as you can see. I've got these baskets that I'm putting them in. They have holes in the bottom, so as the ice melts, it doesn't sit in the runoff, or that's called the muck. So it's sitting on a rack, and that's just a hot tip. I've got those linked in my Amazon storefront as well. They are just organizer bins, and I set them on top of glass cake pans, and that's how I've been doing a lot of my setups lately. All right, here is that final one. Super cool. Just stripes and accordions. Okay, I said it was my final one. It was not, because there are in fact 4, not 3. So here's my last one. This one is the most advanced of them all. You will need sinew if you want to get really sharp lines. You can do this with rubber bands, but it won't look quite the same. So I've got sinew and a sinew puller here. I'm just tying it around like 4 or 5 times, and then I wrap it around my sinew puller and pull that tight.
and that is how I tie my geodes. It's just like a shirt, but obviously you're tying up a sock, so you're going to do things a little bit differently, but it's the same in theory. If you've never tied up a geode, I have a whole playlist of geodes, so you can watch through those. The other thing I should mention is all of these socks were soaked in soda ash before I started, so it was 1 cup of soda ash per 1 gallon of water. If you forget that step, you can always sprinkle on soda ash as you're applying the dye as well. Sometimes I like to mix my dye with soda ash just in case I forget to soak. Then I know the item got some soda ash on it. But some people claim that ruins your dyes. It does degrade your dyes once they're wet, but if your dyes are just mixed with soda ash and dry, it won't degrade your dyes. All right, and then I did one of my very favorite color combos on these socks. I did sage green and seafoam. So here I'm just sprinkling on that sage green. I just sprinkled it randomly. I didn't do stripes or anything like that. And then I used the color seafoam. This is a super muted seafoam color. You need quite a bit of it if you want it to saturate, but it's worth it. This color is one of my very favorites. I have very few in the 8-ounce containers, and this is one of them. All right, and here's the rinse out process. I really like untying geodes because it's just one continuous string and it just unravels. No scissors necessary. Just unravel and look at the beautiful result. And like I said before, I really like socks because they're really easy to wash out. So it shouldn't take you too long to get a good rinse out. They are a small item, so they don't take very much dye. I mean, what more can you say about a pair of socks? Socks are the best. Okay, here you go. Here's the final result. Here's the geodes. Pretty, pretty sage green and seafoam. Here's that tiger stripe, so you can see a little bit better. You can see the stripes a little bit better up and close here. That was the chartreuse and tangerine tiger stripe. Here is the shiitake mushroom scrunch, just a simple scrunch. You can see it's super random, but some people love that, so there you go. And then this is that accordion fold with nightshade it was deep space and magenta galactica. So anyway, if you liked those, check out my Etsy store, or I can't wait to see you make your own. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you have any questions whatsoever, please comment below. I love to answer all sorts of questions. Also in the link below, there is a free printable just for you, 12 of my very favorite folds. It's an ebook written out just for you. All I need is your email and I'll send it right to your email. I also have an Etsy store. If you liked what was in this video, it might already be gone, but there might be something else that you love in my store. So check that out. Thank you so much for supporting me. We'll see you next time.